Hi, host Ken here. Um, just want to make a hopefully quick video. Just got finished a little while ago in the GTM. There was a point tonight in the conversation where someone was expressing their views, and at a certain point, I began to identify with their expression and saw similarities with my own. And at a certain point, the expression that I identified with, being a sort of NI vision, I guess, maybe not specifically NI, they were just sort of letting things unfold, at least to my mind. That's how I internalized it. I saw similarities with myself, and it started to sound like what I do when I'm wanting to just decompress my thoughts and sort of unravel what it is that I'm actually thinking. Try to bring certain subconscious elements to the forefront, try to identify them. And at a certain point in the conversation, I got the impression that they were being cut off and that they weren't being allowed to, delve into these things. This isn't a situation where I'm going to say, well, that was the fault of someone else, because it's not even necessarily that there was a problem as it related to the person talking, and I'll say host Eric was the other individual who I thought interrupted. That's really not the issue, at least in my mind. I mean, it is an issue. I don't want to make it sound like someone, if he was being interrupted and he didn't appreciate that, that is an issue. It's not the topic of this video. The topic of this video is to address myself and my reaction to it. Once I got the impression that this individual was being cut off, I started to feel some negative emotions. I started to get afraid. Well, first I'll say I started to identify with being cut off, or not feeling like I have enough time to express what it is that I'm trying to say. And this is really the point where it diverges from what was actually said and moves more into essentially the series of events triggering in me fears, worry. I saw the interruption, and I thought about times in my life where I've been interrupted or talked over. And being interrupted and being talked over isn't as much the issue as it is me feeling that I don't express myself like I want to. A lot of times people relate to it as saying, well, you need to be more assertive. Well, it's true that I could be more assertive. I don't think assertiveness is entirely what I'm talking about. There's an emotional aspect to it. There's an emotional woundedness and fragility, a certain softness that needs to be explored. At least I perceive the need for it to be explored. I'm basically describing emotional needs. And so, as the night went on and, just prior to shooting this video, I was able to identify why it was that after those events happened, I found myself for the next 15 or 20 minutes just kind of sulking. I was on camera. I was just sort of, you know, kind of trying to focus on what I was drawing or things like that. But I was still sulking. And I've kind of identified it with a sort of existential despair, which may sound a little over the top, a bit melodramatic. But when relating it to these negative emotions, I see it as I have an emotional need, which is that I have things that I want to talk about, I have feelings, and I want to be able to unravel them safely and as I'm ready. Of course, in this situation, it was two other individuals talking. So I'm not saying that everyone should have stopped and paid attention to me. That's not it. That's not the responsibility of others. It's my responsibility to voice, as I am right now, that I have emotional needs. But I would also like to say, not really but in addition to saying that it's not others' responsibility, I don't intend that to mean that somehow the need is belittled or that it's not as important. You know, emotional needs are still real. I mean, they've inhibited me enough. I can certainly see their effects. Yeah. I think I had other things that I wanted to say, but I think I'll end it on, if I'm in a GTM or wherever, and you're talking with me, and I say something rude, or I just seem upset, or like I'm sulking or something like that, it may have either nothing or very little to do with you, and have a lot to do with things I'm trying to work out of myself. Now sometimes I may say something rude or something because I'm, well, for one, focused on myself. It'd probably mostly be because I was focused on myself. And it could be for several reasons. It might be that I'm feeling emotionally hurt. Another reason might be that I'm just having fun expressing myself, and in the heat of expressing myself I say something that maybe I shouldn't have. In either case, if I say something that upsets you, do bring it to my attention. I don't like the idea of saying something that puts someone in a place of being emotionally hurt. And if you bring it up with me, I can't promise that I'll handle it like a saint. If it's in the heat of the moment, I may be stubborn. But it's definitely something I want to get better at. Because to my mind, if I want to get emotional help from others, even if I can only do so much right now, I still feel like it's important for me to take the initiative to be emotionally mature for others, or at least do the very best that I can. So yeah, I may make a follow-up to this, but that's pretty much the meat of what I was wanting to express. Thank you for watching.